What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the 3&D on a special Christmas Day games special. As I'm here with Nick Morgasen of Empty the Bench for the 3&D. I know we haven't had an episode in a couple of weeks, but we're coming back to you guys previewing the Christmas Day slate that's going to go down. The 5 games that are going on, what we're thinking about everything, and how the season's been going. So, Nick, how are we doing so far?
I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to the NBA slate. Some good, some bad, some better than others, but I think we can find some fun in every game, I think.
Absolutely, definitely. And there's definitely going to be some players out. Some of these teams have definitely underperformed to start the season, but it's definitely going to be an interesting slate of games. So we'll jump right into it. At noontime on Christmas, we got the Milwaukee Bucks taking on the New York Knicks. This has become almost a regular thing with the amount of times the Bucks and the Knicks have played each other so far this season. The Knicks have not beat the Bucks. They lost to them at the Garden again this past Saturday. So they ended up getting blown out. So they'll be taking it on them again on Christmas Day, looking for revenge, looking to try to finally beat them this season. The Bucks open up at minus 3.5 point favorites. The over-under is set for 240.5. And there isn't too many injuries in this game that are to worry about. It looks like Giannis and Damian Lillard, who both played on Saturday, will be playing in this game. The Knicks don't have too many injury issues besides Mitchell Robinson, who's now out for the season with his leg injuries, but that's become a common thing for the Knicks. So this game, I think, is going to be really interesting. The Knicks almost always play at noontime on Christmas Day. So this has been something that we've grown accustomed to watching a Knicks game, especially at the Garden too, on Christmas Day. And a lot of times they don't come out too strong, but I think that there's going to be a big emphasis on trying to win this game. I mean, they've been great this season. They're sitting at 16-12 right now. And the majority of their losses, I think 6 of those 12 losses have come to the Celtics and the Bucks to start the season. So they've been practically dynamic against everybody else and just have not been able to figure this team out so far this season.
Yeah, so obviously, like you said, the Knicks have become accustomed to playing the noon game, and probably for New York fans, it's probably a great thing, because if they really want to see a game, they get to see it early, they get to go home, be with the family, celebrate the holiday. It is a mismatch. Obviously, the Bucks are, when healthy, let me clarify that, when healthy, are the best team in the NBA. Now, some other teams might debate that, but when Giannis and Dame are healthy, they are the best team. The Knicks did have injury news recently. They lost Mitchell Robinson for the year. They did get a $7.8 million disabled player exception, but that's a pretty big loss in the rebounding side of this. I don't know about scoring, but he was a big rebounder down low. I don't know if you saw the other news that happened lately, because James Dolan can't stay out of the spotlight. Also with Emily Ratajkowski, who was one of the celebrities that sits in Celebrity Row, and she left the game early because they were losing by like 20 plus. They ended up coming back and winning somehow, but because she left early, James Dolan said, no more tickets. And that led to a whole disputed nonsense, because I guess accurate for the holiday, James Dolan is the Grinch.
Yeah, literally. And I mean, there could be a million different reasons why she left the game early. I mean, it was a blowout, but there could have been other personal reasons, all that kind of stuff. I mean, he's always an idiot. Like, he always comes in and is like doing something stupid, butting in where he shouldn't even be worrying about. I mean, you know, you're the owner of the Knicks, you're the owner of Madison Square Garden, like, just stay out of everything.
They're celebrities. You want them there.
Exactly. Like he's actually going to follow through with that, with not having her like ever come back to a game. That's just like, that's all talk, I think.
Well, let's be careful, because you see what happened to Oakley.
That's true. And
what happened with the Knicks fan holding up the sign saying protesting the Knicks, threw him out too.
That's true too. That is
but
true.
I think the Bucks are going to win, even though the Knicks put up a fight on Christmas Day every year. I just think because having the NBA wants the New York market, they're always going to have either the Nets or the Knicks somehow a part of the 5-game slate on Christmas Day. But I think without Robinson, who was huge on the rebounds, I think you're just going to have an offensive rebound party for the Bucks. I think in this game, and I just the line was -3.5 for the Bucks. I think they can win. I don't see this being a sweat at all. So I think the Bucks win this one.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that, and I'm sure that they cover the -3.5 point spread. It's an interesting spread too. I think it's kind of low. I'd say the Bucks probably should be higher. I mean, it is at the Garden, but we saw on Saturday too in the blowout win for the Bucks that nobody on the Knicks team, especially with Mitchell Robinson out, is big enough to guard the bigs for Milwaukee. They're too dominant. And the way that this Knicks team is built as of right now, they can't beat a team like the Bucks if they're fully healthy, and they're a good team, but they're not a powerhouse in that sense. So I'm definitely going to go with the Bucks as well in this one. But I want to hopefully see a little bit more fight out of the Knicks, who have definitely completely gotten outplayed by the Bucks and the Celtics all season long so far.
Hopefully they're not wearing those stupid jerseys that they had over the years, like those like the half sleeve or the please. I hate those.
Yeah, those Christmas Day jerseys. I don't think they have them this year, but
good.
Luckily that's not going to happen. So then game 2 on Christmas Day, we got the Golden State Warriors at the Denver Nuggets. The reigning NBA champions will be home on Christmas Day at 2:30, which will be 11:30 a.m. Western time. I think Denver is 3 hours behind. Not sure if it's 2 hours or 3 hours.
It's Mountain Time. I can look it up.
But... Mountain Time. It might be 2 hours, so it might be 12:30 start in Denver. But Warriors taking on the Nuggets. The Warriors have been a big letdown to start the season. They're 15-14 so far to enter the year. The Nuggets got off to a really hot start, but have kind of cooled off recently. They're 21-10 now in the season, but they play amazing at home. They're 11-2 at home this year, and the Warriors are 6-8 on the road. Denver is a -6.5 point favorite with the over/under set for 233.5. I think that this game is one of the ones that I'm not extremely looking forward to. I mean, there's going to be no Draymond Green, obviously, with suspension. The Nuggets, both teams have been very up and down this year, so you really don't know what to expect out of either of these teams in this game. I think the Nuggets are going to take advantage of the home court advantage. I don't think they don't really have anyone on their roster that can match up with Jokic either if Draymond Green's not playing. I mean, if Draymond's playing, he would definitely be guarding Jokic, but they'll probably have Kevon Looney or one of those guys on him, which I'm not convinced is going to be able to slow him down very much. So, I mean, Steph's been off to a great start this year, averaging almost 30 points a game, but then Jokic averaging 26 points and 12 rebounds and 9 assists. So he's having another stellar season. But the Nuggets will be I believe they'll be without Jamal Murray as well, because he's been injured over the last few weeks too. So this game, not extremely looking forward to, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, maybe a year or two ago, this would have been more enticing on the court, but even though Draymond, if he played or not, I don't think anyone's stopping Jokic. I think Jokic is just that MVP guy. He's going through those years where he's just on a hot streak, where he's going to win like 3 out of 4 NBA MVPs. That's just the way it looks, and I don't think he can be stopped. The Warriors don't play defense anymore either. Draymond or not, they were still struggling defensively. Their game, at least this year, is score or lose this year. That they really got to get on the board. Steph's got to put up. That's why he's putting up 30 plus, because they're not going to win if they don't. I was kind of surprised lately about the Nuggets, and they're on a 4-game win streak now, but they've kind of lost a few surprising games over this season so far, which everyone said, "Oh, the NBA champions, they should be winning." What do we call that? Usually, it's the NBA championship kind of hangover in a sense, where because it's a long schedule. People don't realize how long the playoffs actually are. So I think the Nuggets will win. What was the line on it? Do you have
5.5? Yeah, Nuggets, or 6.5, I should say, -6.5.
I mean, NBA spreads are a lot harder than any other sport.
It is, because it's any given day. I mean, it's like baseball too. There's so many games that it's like it can go either way. I mean, the Warriors could easily win this game as well.
I could see that, and I could also see Steph coming out. It's Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Like I was going to say this before for the Knicks. Like the Knicks could come out. It's Christmas Day. It's high energy. Maybe they make it a game against the Bucks just on Christmas Day only because it's at MSG. People have energy. Same thing here. Even though it's on the road, like Steph could come out and hit like his first 5 or 6 threes and put the Nuggets behind the 8 ball early, and that could kill the momentum for Jokic. And then Jokic is taken out of his game because you can't win with just Jokic on the court down 10, 15 points. So I don't know. The spread is kind of rough. But without Draymond, I think they could cover this. I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that the Warriors, I think the Nuggets could very well cover it. I think I would lean towards Warriors at +6.5, but the Nuggets to end up winning this game. Just making it a little bit closer. I think Steph could come out and be red hot. Yeah, I agree with you. It's difficult to tell which way that this game is going to be able to go. It's a very tough game, 2 up and down teams, and there's we really have no idea. I think Jokic is going to go off though. Jokic is going to have a really good game, so would not be surprised about that. And then the middle game of the day, we got at 5:00 the Boston Celtics taking on the Los Angeles Lakers in Los Angeles. Obviously a historic rivalry right here with Celtics versus Lakers. Hasn't been too much of a rivalry as of recently. One team is usually good while the other team has been bad over the past 10 or so years. But, even going back to the Kobe and Kevin Garnett days, and before that, obviously the Magic versus Bird days, this is a long lasting rivalry. So this is going to be an interesting game for that. Alone possibly. So the Celtics are 22-6 to start the season. They've been dominant. The Lakers are 16-14. They've been 10-3 at home though. They've been a tremendous home team while being a not so great away team. So that's what keeps the Lakers in this for a good amount. The line, Boston is a -2.5 point favorite. The over under is at 234.5. The Lakers seems like will be without Anthony Davis, who's injured. And the Celtics practically have their entire squad. Jason Tatum and LeBron James going to be going at each other. LeBron's been having a tremendous season once again, turning 30. I think he's turning 39 either right after Christmas or right before Christmas. But either
December 30th.
December 30th, yep. So in the next week he'll be turning 39. And he's been playing once again like he's been his entire career. He's been so dominant. So the Lakers being home makes this an interesting game. But the Celtics have been so good. They're so tough to beat.
Yeah, this is one game where you said the Celtics -2.5. I would hammer that big time. I mean, that you want to talk about low line. That is a low line by a country mile. The Celtics, like you said, are the best team in the NBA, 22-6. Ever since they got Porzingis, he's really nailed that center position that they really were missing last season. I just think that put them over the top. Jason Tatum's playing good. He is a little streaky at times on the court, but him, Jaylen Brown, and some of the other guys, they're a good team. They're a really good team. The Lakers just got bad news on Gabe Vincent, who was out for 2 months. Now he's going to be out another 6 to 8 weeks at least. Yeah. Anthony Davis is just a wild card. You have no idea if he's going to play. When he plays, he's spectacular. If you look at the in-season tournament final, which that's a whole different story. But what did he have? He was a double-double in the 20s, if I'm not mistaken. He had 20-plus points and 20 rebounds. Like, it was an insane number.
Yeah, he was the MVP of that finals game. I know LeBron won the in-season tournament MVP, but he was the MVP of that game for sure.
They're definitely not winning this game, though. I understand they're a good home game. They're a good home team, but the Celtics are going to dominate the Lakers, especially. And LeBron's not 100% healthy either. Let's make sure we point that out as well. He's been sitting out of quite a few every other games lately. Celtics -2.5. I would hammer that big time.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that's a layup. Celtics at -2.5 is such a small number. I understand it being smaller since the Lakers are home, but they got so many injury issues. D'Angelo Russell too has been terrible as of late. They're starting to take him off the bench now. He's lost his starting point guard role, so that's going to be another interesting thing to look out for. But yeah, I would take the Celtics at -2.5 as well. And both these teams always end up playing on Christmas, so this is not too far of a stretch for this game.
It's more brand, or history than brand. It's like you said, one team is usually good, one is bad. They haven't really been the same. The last time was when they played each other in the NBA Finals, and that's like over a decade ago now, isn't it?
Yep. It was.
Was it like 2010, 2011, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, it was 2010, I believe. That when Kobe beat them, when they had the super team. 2009 or 2010. I know one of the years the Lakers beat the Magic, like the Dwight Howard Magic, and then the other year was the Celtics. Yeah, it's been a while, but exactly, you got the big brands. The Knicks, Celtics, and Lakers are almost always playing on Christmas. I over the past like 10, 15 years, I think there's only been like one Christmas the Knicks didn't play because they were terrible. Like a handful of years ago, I remember they didn't have a game. Shockingly, because they had so many bad seasons in a row that they were just like, we're not giving you a game this year.
We just don't want to deal with that nonsense. Or James Dolan, one of the two.
Exactly. So leading off the nighttime, the two games that are going on at night, we got the Philadelphia 76ers at the Miami Heat, which is going down at 8:00 p.m. This is going to be a good primetime game. The Sixers are 20-8 this season. They've been doing great, even though they traded James Harden. They've been honestly doing a lot better than the Clippers have, and we kind of saw that coming. But the Sixers have definitely been doing well. The Heat have been up and down again. They're 17-12 this season. They did this exact same thing last season. They ended up with an 8 seed because of it. And they go up and down throughout the season, and then they start getting hot towards the end of the season. So you can't completely count them out. But they're going to be the home team. They're 8-6 at home this year, which is decent, but the 76ers are a good away team. They're 8-4 on the road this season, as well as 12-4 at home. So, 20-8 total. So they've been fantastic. Philadelphia is a -1.5 point favorite to open up the day, and their over under is at 226.5. So it makes it a little bit interesting. They're very, very close. It's almost like a pick 'em at -1.5. And Joel Embiid has been fantastic this season, averaging 35 points and 11.7 rebounds. So this is going to be an interesting game. This is definitely one that could go either way, I think. Miami's been very up and down this season to start the year, but they are home. They do play a lot on Christmas, so I think that's but the Sixers have been dynamic. I have not watched much of the Sixers this year. I'll be completely honest. So I definitely am going to be watching this game. I want to see what they look like. I haven't really truly looked at them since the James Harden trade. I haven't watched them very closely because they haven't really played the Knicks. The Knicks, honestly, watching pretty much every Knicks game, they played the Bucks and the Celtics pretty much all season, and the way the schedule has worked. But I'm going to be interested in this one to see what happens.
Yeah, I think the Sixers are definitely the better team in this matchup. Obviously, you got to factor in the road factor here, but how do you not take Philly -1.5? You don't think they're going to win by 2 points against Miami? Miami's very up and down. Jimmy Butler's been very up and down as of late. I think he's a little too interested about the media and how they treat the team rather than playing the game on the court. By the way, huge shocker, not really, that the team is playing better without James Harden. Big surprise right there.
Yeah.
But Joel Embiid has been impressive coming off an MVP season. He'll be up there again in that debate and that discussion all over again. I just think they needed to get rid of the ego of James Harden. That's really what propelled them to play better again and giving some of those younger guys redemption, so to speak, to play. So I like Philadelphia -1.5. I think I would hammer that one. I think that's getting a fair price, and when it should be, in my opinion, that should be like 3.5 or 4.5. Really, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I'm going with Philly on this one at -1.5. I think that's a very low number. They should dominate this game. I don't think that the Heat have shown very much consistency. Philadelphia has been one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. They've been showing that they're close to as dominant as the Bucks and the Celtics are. They're definitely in a tier below them, but they've been playing great this year, and Embiid's been a great leader for them. They have a good amount of depth too that they were able to acquire in the James Harden trade, and the Heat have just been inconsistent all season, and you see that a lot early on in the year and during an 82 game season with this Miami Heat team. Then they start to go on a run. So I would definitely lock in with the Sixers at -1.5. It's probably going to be a bigger win than even a 2-point win. I could definitely see a 5 to 10 point win for the Sixers, even on the road against Miami. And jumping over from that, we got the final game of the night at 10:30 p.m. We got the Dallas Mavericks at the Phoenix Suns. This is going to be another very interesting game. The Mavericks have been 17-12 this season, 9-6 on the road. They've been pretty solid. They've struggled a little bit as of late. They got off to a really hot start, but they've actually been pretty good. I thought that they were going to be a lot worse than the start that they've gotten off to this season. I was not very convinced with them. And then the Phoenix Suns, on the other hand, have been a huge disappointment so far this year. Bradley Beal has barely played. He's not going to play in this game. Devin Booker has had a good season. Kevin Durant has had a good season, but their depth hasn't really come into factor that much. They're 14-14 heading into this game. They're only 7-8 at home as well. They're under 500 at home. And it's an interesting line, though. Phoenix is a -5.5 point favorite. Despite these numbers heading into the game, the over-under is 235.5. I mean, obviously KD averaging 30 plus points a game. Luka is averaging 32.9. I'm not sure if Kyrie Irving is going to be playing in this game. I know that he's been dealing with some injury issues, but I would assume he probably is. But -5.5, that's a big number for the Suns with how questionable they've been all season long.
Yeah, this is a big line. If Kyrie's out, I don't think they win. I think that's a massive factor. But I don't know. Like, I was talking to you about these games, and I said to you, this is the one I would actually stay away from out of all 5 games. Because, again, I don't know. Bradley Beal is turning into Kawhi a little bit in the sense of, do I play? Do I sit out? I got traded, and I signed a massive deal in the offseason, and I haven't really played. Has he played any games? One game, I think, and then he got hurt again?
Yeah, he's only played a couple. He was hurt to start the season. I think he came back for a couple of games, and he's hurt again. So we have not seen too much of him. It looks like Kyrie Irving is going to be a game time decision. He didn't play Saturday against the Spurs due to a heel injury. Also, Derek Lively is a game time decision as well. So those are two interesting factors that make the -5.5 a little bit more explainable if those two don't play. The Suns don't have a ton of huge injury concerns besides Jusuf Nurkic, who could be out. But
well, gee, I wonder why.
Exactly.
In this case, I wouldn't take the -5.5. I would go money line on the Suns, and because I think they'll win, but I don't think they're going to win. Asking them to win by 6 total is a lot, especially the way this game is going. Obviously, just looking at the Mavs and just looking at the way they're playing as of late, I don't know. They're one player and one player only, and it's Luka Doncic. Really. Otherwise, if he doesn't play well, they stink. Like that's the most honest and nicest way I can put it. But KD has been injured too. His injuries are starting to rear its ugly head. By the way, the Nets won that trade big time, making that deal, getting as much as they possibly could, knowing that he was going to be a headache, and then he got hurt. And yeah, I would take the Suns more money line than I would take them to cover. So I guess if we're going to talk spread's sake, I guess I would say Mavs +5.5. But I would say the Suns would probably win under the number.
Yeah, I like that same exact thing too. I think that the Mavs at +5.5 would be a safe bet, but I think that the Suns will win by a couple of points. I think it'll be a very close game. It's really depending on if Kyrie plays or not. This is going to be a very interesting decision. I feel like that number at -5.5 is going to fluctuate big time too. If Kyrie doesn't play, it's going to probably go up. It seems like even with him being questionable, they like the Suns in this one. And the Suns should win this game.
They should, and we'll see. Will KD and company be healthy? One other thing that I found interesting about Christmas, I'm surprised they didn't put Wembanyama up for Christmas.
That's really true, honestly. Like, I know the Spurs have been terrible this year, but they've been getting a lot more television time. They've been getting a lot more primetime games. They've been on ESPN more than they have been over the last few years. And mainly just because of Wembanyama, and people have been wanting to watch him. I'm surprised. I mean, I think that maybe if they improve a little bit, they'll be put on for next year. I wouldn't be shocked.
And I'll ask you about one more thing, since we haven't had a chance to talk NBA stuff in a while. Did you see? Well, one, the Pistons are just an abomination in every way, shape, or form. I don't know if you saw this story. Did you see DraftKings had a bet that for the rest of you could bet on them not winning the rest of the season?
I did not see that. That's insane.
It was like
crazy.
It was like plus 10,000, which means if you bet 100, you win 10,000. If they were to, it's an insane number. And then I saw the over/under for total wins was 9.5.
Yeah, they're on pace to be just as bad as the Bobcats were like just over 10 years ago. I think when they had like 10 or 11 wins, and the Sixers too, like 10 years ago, had that one season where they had. I think the Bobcats might have had single-digit wins. They might have been had 9 wins one of those seasons, and the Sixers had like 12 or something like that. I mean, the Pistons are on pace to do that. They're 2-27, I think now, 20, which is a 26-game losing streak, I believe. I mean, they're like completely. It's not even Christmas yet, and they're almost on pace to, at best,
maybe win double digits. Maybe
win double digits. Like, it's historically bad what they're doing. And
my favorite's going to be, you have to pick an all-star for each team. Who are you picking?
Oh my God. Yeah, that's not, I don't even know.
Cade Cunningham, maybe?
It would be Cade Cunningham. It would have to be. He's the only one that's been consistent at all this year. And
I feel bad for those fans. Like, how do you go to those games?
Lose 26 in a row. And you go to the game mainly because you paid for the tickets, and if you bought the ticket a while ago, you paid for it, and you're just going to get as much out of it as you can, but you're not going to it for the actual game.
And by the way, the other rumors, and I don't know if you've heard these, but Monty Williams on the hot seat after signing a player's contract, $100 million plus as a coach.
It's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. I mean, after giving him that contract, I understand they might be like the worst team in history, but I still can't see them justifying firing him. Especially after that contract. I mean, they gave him a 6-year contract that was like $100 million or something like that, like by far the richest in NBA history. And you do that, and then his first season, you start the season 2-27. That's just crazy. And
there's no way.
A lot of it has to come down to coaching, though, too. I mean, they've got a bunch of young players, but there's no professional team that should be this bad.
Hell no, they shouldn't be this bad. And you can't fire him. You just give him an insanely large contract. There's no way you can get out from under that at all. I just don't see how you can.
No, there's absolutely no way. But that's going to wrap things up for our Christmas Day special. I'm Paul Lombardi. That's Nick Morgasen from Empty the Bench Podcast Network. Make sure you check us out on social media at the 3&D ETB to check out brand new episodes and news coming throughout the week. We haven't had a full episode in a couple of weeks, but we'll be coming back as the new year hits. And we'll be coming back with fresh stuff, and it'll get a lot more interesting once Christmas is over. So definitely check that out. We've got a great slate of Christmas Day games. Nick, do you have anything else to add?
No, I hope the games deliver. That's the biggest thing. So
yeah, hopefully. Well, that's going to do it. Hope everybody has a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and we'll see you guys in the new year.
Yeah, we'll see you in the new year with new episodes.